Fully human, Bard Finnemore here. It's July 29th, 2026. I'm in the parking lot of Crawford Lake. So, wow, July. Whew, I was in Norval, Ontario. You know, that's where the Credit River is running through. You know, we went to Terracotta Gardens Limited Campground, then the Terracotta Conservation Park, Wolf Lake. Of course, then I went through Georgetown. Then I went up to Georgina, the Lyndhurst Golf Course. That was next to that park there. We saw Green Acres Campers Group in Georgina. Drove through Sutton, Angus. Remember Essa, that Don Ross Fishing Park, Essa Fishing Park, Reflections RV Park, the Nottawasaga River, Cookstown. Then I went up to Georgian Bay, Tiffin Marina on Georgian Bay, and Midland. That's where the Trans-Canada Trail is. The Midland Harbor, downtown Midland. So I kind of like from if you follow me, I went from March to the end of June, all along all those Lake Ontario lakefront scenic spots, and from anywhere from where'd we go from? We went as far as where did I go? As far as what's the station after Union again? Whatever that one is. Why is that not registering? What's the station after Union? And then we went around to Humber, right? The Humber Bay, and the station there, Mimico, and the other one past Union Station. But so you saw all those like Lake Ontario waterfronts. Now I've been doing kind of like lakes, water bodies that aren't on Lake Ontario. Of course, they're going to flow into Lake Ontario. Of course, Georgian Bay is part of Lake Huron, and that water takes a long time. Huron, Erie, then it goes Ontario up to St. Lawrence, out to the Atlantic Ocean. Oh yeah, White Lake, Frontenac South, Renfrew, Ontario. That's off the Madawaska. That was an awesome river. Remember that Madawaska starts at Algonquin, goes into the Ottawa, then it gets down to St. Lawrence and out to the Atlantic Ocean. Charbot Lake, Big Gull Lake, Centennial Lake. That was another camp. The Madawaska River, of course, I've already mentioned. So these were all lakes, I guess, off the Madawaska. And we went to Bancroft and stayed at that Sword Inn. And we saw that York River that flows through Bancroft. Barry's Bay, that is Lake Kamaniskeg. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Then we went to the Eagle's Nest Lookout, the Art Gallery of Bancroft. And then I kind of went local, right? I'm in Hamilton, the waterfall capital of the world. So I went to Gulliver's Lake. That's in Mill Groove, Emerald Lake, Valens Lake. That was all en route to African Lion Safari, Christie Lake. Then I took a break. Went to that Theater Aquarius and saw La Boheme. Okay. And then it was to Belleville we went. Now that's the Bay of Quinte. That's technically in Lake Ontario, and just after the Bay of Quinte is the headwater. That's the start of the St. Lawrence, where the water is going out to the Atlantic. So what did we do there? Well, there was that awesome walking trail. Now, Bay of Quinte is like a Z-shaped bay. It's the northern shore of Lake Ontario, but the walking trail that we were on was just like south of Belleville, so just off the 401, one highway down. We went to Sandbank. Again, that's a part of Lake Ontario, and that's the southern tip of Prince Edward County, where you can still see these sandfly. Look at that. Ah, they're all over me. Sandfly bites still are, haunting me, even 3 days, 4 days later. We went on the Lake on the Mountain. Lake on the Mountain, definitely worth seeing. Prince Edward County, it's not part, yes, it is part of Lake Ontario. No, Lake on the Mountain is a stand on its own water body. It's like, 200 feet, 60 meters above Lake Ontario and the Bay of Quinte. But they're not attached. There's got to be some kind of a spring flowing into Lake on the Mountain, but people say that it's a mystery. But how can it be a mystery with all the technology we have today? How come you can't figure out what water is flowing into Lake on the Mountain Park? Huh? Answer me that. Okay. What else did we do? Picton, downtown Picton, with all its wineries, breweries, distilleries, and shopping and trendy places to go. But one thing I forgot to say was before the Bay of Quinte, we kind of did a little detour. We went into that Petroglyphs Provincial Park with the rare, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Meromictic lake. That's when someone said the best way to describe it is when like the top lake and the bottom lake, they don't touch. It's like two lakes in one. They're rare, they're unique. But I went to two. I went to that one in the Petroglyphs. That one was called McGuinness Lake. And right here in Milton, Crawford Lake is another one of those unique, rare Meromictic lakes. Okay, so we did that. Then we went to the trading post, and we cut through, I think I already mentioned Madoc, Ontario, and Lake Mora. And then we went to Napanee, downtown Napanee, and Deseronto, right on the Bay of Quinte as well. So we saw lots of cool stuff, and I ended it here in Milton, right near Hamilton at Crawford Lake, another one of those Meromictic lakes, unique, rare. How come I've seen two this summer? I didn't even know what the word Meromictic meant until this summer. Okay, so what did I do? I think I did 15 lakes, like 4 or 5 rivers, and of course the bays, right? Georgian Bay off Lake Huron. That was with the Tiffin Marina up in Midland, and the Bay of Quinte, with sandbanks and Lake on the Mountain. And that's all, right? That's water. That's Lake Ontario. So do you want to hear the lakes? So maybe you want to go see them yourself. Wolf Lake, Lake Simcoe with Jackson Point, White Lake, Sharbet Lake, Big Gull Lake, Centennial Lake, Barry's Bay, that's where the Lake Kaminuskeg, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, is. Gulliver's Lake, Emerald Lake, Valens Lake, Christie Lake, Lake Mora, McGuinness Lake, Lake on the Mountain, and Crawford Lake. Okay, what else do I got here? Yeah, the bays and the rivers, right? So yeah, I mean, that's what I do in July. So August is going to be like a mix of, I always try to see, if you're in Ontario and you forget how much water and beautiful scenery you're surrounded by, just pick a point every year, go somewhere up on Georgian Bay. For me, it was Midland, that Tiffin Marina. Go somewhere on Lake Huron. I'm going to be doing that next. Go somewhere on Lake Erie. I'm going to be doing that next. Go on Lake Ontario, of course. I showed you all those Toronto landscapes. And then just go out and find lakes. Like I said, we did 15 lakes. Probably drove by 20 that we didn't even know. But 15 that we accounted for. So yeah, Ontario, God bless the nature. Amen.